Hi everyone, we welcome to the fourth lesson. In this session we will learn how to apply multiple parameters to multiple elements in Revit. We will also have a look at how to display geometry in Dynamo and how to create custom nodes. So I've opened the project 04 rooms, and I'm now opening Dynamo. Here, and from Dynamo I open the Dynamo file, Dynamo script in the same folder. So we can now navigate through the script and see what it does. This is basically what we have seen in the past sessions. So we start here with selecting all the rooms in Revit, and if you go to Revit element geometry, you can visualize these rooms as a solid in Dynamo. If you switch the preview to the background, you can navigate and you can zoom extension, you can zoom in with the middle center button, you can rotate with the right button. You cannot access the geometry from the 3D preview. But what you can do, if you switch back to the graph view and if you open the element geometry, you can see which element is, so which solid corresponds to which room. And the way Dynamo displays is with square brackets and then the list number index, which is 4 in this case, and the element index, which in this case is always 0, because we have a list of 6 lists if you start counting from 0. So 7 lists with an item in each. What we can do, we can flatten the list, and in doing that we will only have one list with 7 items. So 7 is the number of the rooms, and if we switch off the preview of the previous node, we can then go through the solids from 0 to 6. Because it's a solid, you can also extract some properties like volume or areas of the rooms, and these numbers will be the same as the one that we are retrieving using get parameter value by name if we set volume or area as parameter. Okay, we can delete these nodes, and then what we have is a get parameter value by name, which basically extract numbers from Revit. At the bottom we are reading the data from Excel. And then we are transposing it, and we are using again index of and list map and get item at index in order to reorder the data in Excel, which has this order, so G, B, F, D, C. It's just random, it's just a different order from the one that we have in Revit, to reorder and remap as the order from Revit. So we can group these nodes and say reorder Excel data. In here I've used a code block to get the first list. So this is the syntax of list get item at index. The brackets, the square brackets, specify the list, and you can Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. If you want an item inside a list, you need to add a bracket. So in doing that, we will retrieve the first item inside the list 0. First index first is the second in the list, but index 1. Okay, so now that we have these parameters and these values, we can again do element set parameter by name, and as we did before, we were using the elements as an input. Parameters name, because in Excel we use the same names as in Revit, so as the title of each column is exactly the name of the parameter that we want to compile in Revit, we can simply extract with get item at index or with the code block notation. So A is a variable, and if you type A, you see that this becomes the name of the input of this code block. You can call it list, and it will be a list. Or you can call it room numbers. Okay, well, room parameters, better. So if you input data and you run it, I'm expecting to get these 3 values. Okay. We already have the numbers in Revit, so we don't need to use them and we don't need to override them. We can use a node called rest of items, which removes the first item in a list. And if we remove the numbers from there and the numbers from here, we will then have 2 lists and 2 parameters. And if we try to populate, to pass them to this element set parameter by name function, we notice that something is wrong. You see, the element ID of all these rooms is the same, which means that I am overriding the same room with all of these parameters. So in the end, room A becomes plant room, which is not what we want. And if I select, yeah, probably the second room has a comment. So let's try changing the lacing to longest. Again, to cross product. And see, still you cannot obtain what you want. This is something which is not working. So see, this is just didn't work. In Revit you can always undo a Dynamo script, so you just need to go into the undo icon at the top, select all the Dynamo scripts that we have run, and then the file goes back to how it was. So why this node doesn't behave like we are expecting? Well, this is due to how Dynamo has been compiled, is due to how Dynamo is set up. When you want to apply multiple parameters and multiple values to using set parameter by name, you need to use a node called list combine. It's similar to what we are doing when we are using list map and index of. The combination, this node doesn't work by himself, and if you add a list map, it then behave like expected. So how to use list combine? In the first input we need to connect the function that we want to operate, and then you see there are other two inputs, or as many as you want, and they should match the other inputs from the node that you are passing through. So in list 1 I will plug the second input of this node, and in list 2 I will connect this rest of items. If I then run the script, you should see that we have all unique rooms ID, which is what I'm expecting, and they are repeated for the second list in the same order, because I am first setting the parameter name for all these rooms, and these are the values, and then I'm selecting the parameter called comments with these values and these rooms. Okay, if at some point you want to add another parameter, and you just type some random numbers and you save them, you will see that automatically in here we have a new parameter, and in here we have the values of these parameters. And if we go in here and select the room A, reception, and occupancy 7, which is what we are expecting. Okay, so the last thing that I want to show you is how to create a custom node. So a custom node is a collection of nodes, and which can be put together inside another node. So if, for example, you see that you are using this index of and list map together, and quite often, you can do an edit copy and go to File and do New Custom Node. You can call it Reorder List. The category, you can pick the one that you want. You can also create a new one if you type lists management, press OK, and then you paste this node in here. You see the background is now yellow, which means that you are working in a custom node. Whenever you are creating a custom node, you need to add input and output, and the name of the input is what will appear in the node. So we have an input in list, which they were the Excel data. So we can say data from Excel, and in here we can say data from Revit, and the output is the index order. So we can save it. It automatically opens the folder in your C drive where the definitions are stored, which is user, C user, your name, app data, roaming, Dynamo, Dynamo Revit 1.2 definitions. You just need to save. You can close this, and then if you look in the library, you will see that there is a new folder called the name that you gave, and in here data from Excel, they are the order we specified, data from Revit, and I'm expecting to see this list of numbers in here. And as you can see, this node has 3 rectangles, so this means that it's a custom node, and if you double click on this node, it will open the definitions that have been saved inside.